All right, the Utah Jazz lose to the Dallas Mavericks. This is now the Jazz have lost. Let's see. Let's just do this better. We're live. Sorry. The Jazz have lost 3 in a row and have only won 2 of their last 8. If you ask me, it's a little too much, but it was a very successful day for the Utah Jazz today in terms of going after Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Starting to be a little bit of debate there on Dylan Harper versus Ace Bailey. My goodness, does Dylan Harper look nice? Holy smokes, is he going to be really good? Looks like Harden, to be honest. And for anyone that's not a James Harden fan, just a reminder that Harden was an MVP and was absolutely unstoppable at times at his peak. And if Harden was a better playoff player, then he'd be looked at a lot different. But since he didn't pull it out in the playoffs, But let's talk about the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Utah Jazz tonight pretty handily. I mean, Utah got close. I tell you what, if there's one thing I'm learning this season is that Will Hardy is a really good coach and that Utah is really trying hard to find a superstar to give him to coach and to build a team around. And man, is he going to be good once the Jazz see if they can get it. As far as the Dallas Mavericks, Derek Lively was great for them. He was such a nice pickup. I know the numbers aren't super gaudy. He just makes really good plays. 6 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He's making the right play. 2 block shots. He was really good. Quentin Grimes, for a lot of this game, was the best player on the floor. He was phenomenal for them. He just was automatic from 3 tonight, 5 for 11. It's weird how a player can be 5 for 11 from 3 and 1 for 6 from the free throw line. That's kind of wild, but he was fantastic. He is so strong and so big. What a nice partner for Kyrie Irving. That was an absolutely just a steal, really, from the I think it was Detroit they got from him, and Detroit got him from New York. You'll remember that Quentin Grimes is the player that the New York Knicks would not trade to the Utah Jazz for Donovan Mitchell. Now he ends up on the Dallas Mavericks through some various different moves that the Knicks made. I was looking it up during the live. They traded for Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Quentin Grimes was part of that trade. And then the Dallas Mavericks trade Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Pistons, get Quentin Grimes back, and man, does that look like an upgrade for the Mavericks. What a great trade that has been. Because I tell you what, when Luka's playing, he'll be on the floor, and it makes a lot of sense. Najee Marshall left this game halfway through. It sounds like he has a sore throat, upper respiratory, whatever. He's not feeling great, so he left this game. 1 for 5. You can just see that he wasn't playing well. PJ Washington, since Luka Doncic has been sitting, has been playing really well for them, as well as Najee Marshall. Obviously not tonight. And then, of course, Kyrie Irving, who just killed the Jazz tonight. 30 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Just vintage, elite, high-level Kyrie Irving. He was awesome. So this Mavericks team continues to win without Luka Doncic. Utah doesn't do something stupid and beat the Mavericks again tonight. Interestingly, this Mavericks team is probably better defensively without, well, I don't even think that's a question. They're just better defensively without Luka Doncic. So when Luka comes back, can they keep up the defensive level while also keeping up that high-level offense that they have? So we'll see. For the Utah Jazz, this was exactly what they wanted to have happen. Lauri Markkanen has had a career year from the three-point line, but not tonight. Goes 2 for 11 from 3, 19 points. I think, he got hit in the knee again tonight. Knee-to-knee contact with another player. It happened in San Antonio when he banged knees with Wembanyama. And then he didn't play last game because, congrats to Lauri Markkanen. Him and his family welcomed their 3rd child, and he took the game off, but I thought he would have rested anyway because he took a knee from Wembanyama and had to be carried off the floor. And I'm a little surprised he even played in this one. He obviously didn't have a lot of lift, 35% from the field, 18% from 3. And I have to think that him taking that knee from Wembanyama isn't helping him. And it's a little dangerous, to be honest. If you're out there compromised running the floor, that's how sometimes an ACL gets torn. I don't know. It's a little weird to me that he played, but I guess if he wants to go out and play and he's telling the Jazz he wants to play, that's likely what's going to happen. But anyways, 19 points. He only shoots 18% from three. I would not be surprised if he does not play tomorrow against the Lakers. John Collins, the numbers weren't quite as impressive tonight, but overall he played well tonight. 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. He's played so well for this Jazz team that I have to think there are some teams that might be interested in seeing if they can get him for nothing, which might be a huge win for the Jazz, to be honest. If they can trade John Collins for next to nothing and get off that $26 million, because his contract next year, he has the player option next year, obviously, $26 million, that Utah would probably be interested in having clear books to bring in players, bad contracts, so they can get more picks, I saw someone on Blue Sky talking about the Lakers trying to go after Kessler, one of those Laker fans talking about it, and I bet the Jazz would love to do a move like that if they can get elite high-level picks back. I don't know what the future is for Walker Kessler on the Jazz, but I for sure know that the Jazz would love to make a move to move John Collins to someone. Would the Lakers be interested in John Collins? Maybe. We always have. It seems like the last 2-3 seasons we have an annual Jazz-Lakers trade where the Jazz take a bad contract from the Lakers because the Lakers keep making bad choices, and the Jazz just waive that player. They've done it like twice with Russell Westbrook, and then they get nice picks. So maybe we'll do it again. It's just an annual tradition, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, annual bail out the Lakers for their poor choices and take their picks. And maybe this year they can do it with John Collins. But the one that we've heard rumors about is Walker Kessler. Whether it's the Lakers or the Knicks or other teams interested in him, you can bet there are going to be some teams calling because he is having an absolute bounce back season. Walker Kessler was fantastic tonight. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks, 3 steals, and assist, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's right. I'm going to go for it. This was such a nice night for him. 7 for 9 from the field. And this is no joke because this is up against Lively and Gafford on the Mavericks. No question. Those are some high-level centers. And Walker Kessler did this against them. Really impressive stuff. Also nice to see him have a good free throw shooting night. So arguably Kessler's best night of the season. He's had some good ones this year. Tonight especially, just putting up nice numbers. And if you're the Lakers and you can give the Jazz that 27 pick, like take the protections off and then give the Utah Jazz an unprotected 2029 or something like that, I wonder if the Jazz think about it. Because Utah right now is on a quest, and the quest is for Cooper Flagg. And as much as I love Walker Kessler, and I think he is a very, very solid big, I think down the road in the future, I think Walker Kessler is likely a situational big because he cannot shoot, and definitely a great defensive big, but kind of doing what the Dallas Mavericks do. They play both centers that are both kind of rolling, rim protecting centers. There are times where you're going to need to spread the floor, and that's not something you can do with Kessler. And if Utah goes into this draft, which, by the way, the Dallas Mavericks falling apart is giving my heart so much happiness and joy. The sadness, the downfall, the horrible, horrible demise of the Minnesota Timberwolves is making my heart happy. So happy. And Utah is looking like they may get 2 top 10 picks in this loaded draft. And at that point, you just got to wonder, what's the future with Kessler? He's phenomenal, but we do know the price. We know the price. It is 2 first-round picks. And so would the Jazz be okay with that, taking the protections off the 2027 and getting the 2029 unprotected from the Lakers, which will likely be post-LeBron? That Lakers team would be Walker Kessler, Austin Reeves, and Dalton Connect. They would be very, very, I don't know. There's something about those 3 that's related. But anyways, that would be an interesting team. White Boy Summer in LA, right? White boy summer on the Los Angeles Lakers. Get it happening. Give us all the picks and you can have white boy summer in LA, baby. Connect, Reeves, Walker Kessler. Sounds pretty fun to me. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see if the Lakers want to do that. The player that I think that, and you know, what, Colin Sexton did not have a very good night tonight, and that he was 5 for 13 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. Speaking of the Lakers, the Jazz play them tomorrow. But anyways, 13 points for Colin Sexton tonight, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He did not play very well tonight. There were 2 or 3 possessions where he was just taking the ball, going into isolation, and just not playing within the flow of the offense. And it wasn't great. And you can kind of see that in the numbers here. When he is playing off the ball and attacking mismatches and playing within the offense, it goes much better. When he is just going iso ball and trying to score on whoever and not worrying about it, it's when you have nights like this. So I would say that Colin Sexton had one of his worst games of the year. This was not great. And it was a lot of bad habit stuff from Colin Sexton, things he's done in the past. So not great. Keontae George, baby. The shooting was not there tonight. But, I mean, he must have had like a turkey hangover. The 5 turnovers tonight, but he did have 8 assists. So he was not shooting the ball well tonight. Even though, and I talked about this in the preview on SLC Dunk, you can go read it. But if you take out the first 5 games of Keontae George's season so far, he's actually shooting 40% from 3 for the year and above 40% from the field. He's actually having a very nice season compared to last year, just an improved season. And this is all as the main point guard. Will Hardy is riding him hard. He is coaching him hard, and he is being asked to evolve very quickly. Utah wants him to be good quick because when they get Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, Keontae George is an important part of this Jazz team's future. Just like if Utah keeps Lauri Markkanen for when they get that star player and have a spread floor, they need Keontae George to get to that next level. He has got to be an elite scorer. But also, one thing you've got to be excited about is these 8 assists. That one lob he gave to Walker Kessler was an absolute thing of beauty. In fact, let's look at it. This was so simple, but so good. In fact, let's pull it up. Kessler, 3-foot alley-oop dunk. This was just gorgeous. Look at this. So he gets it top of the key. This is just simple high pick and roll stuff. But Kessler sets a nice, oh my gosh. Kessler sets a nice screen here. Come on. Going left, by the way, left-handed up. That's the Stockton one-handed pass. Knocks it down. Just beautiful stuff from Keontae George. He is getting better and better and better at running that pick and roll, finding the right man, hitting cutters, hitting the corner 3, finding the right pass at the right time. His timing is at just another level. Johnny Neva, another great loss. Keep them coming. Yeah, baby. Yeah. What you want is you want the loss with nice flashes, right? And we're seeing those. But anyways, he is absolutely a big part of this future because what he can do is be a secondary scoring option and secondary playmaking option next to a superstar. If Utah gets Cooper Flagg and gets a superstar on the Jazz, I mean, honestly, it's within our grasp, guys. It's coming. It's absolutely within the realm of possibility like never before. But what you need is Keontae George to be ready for when that happens. And so, the shooting wasn't there tonight like you'd hope, but the passing was. And what you kind of want is you want the same kind of thing as the Dallas Mavericks have, where they have Luka Doncic as their main offensive option, but when they're double teaming Luka, or let's say you have a bench unit where you have Kyrie Irving running the show, you need that player to be able to run the show, play make for other players. And what we're seeing is that Keontae George is doing that. 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 turnovers is not great, but it'll get better, and then just 5 points because the shooting wasn't there. I'm happy with what we're seeing. Bryce Sensabaugh, the numbers, actually, looking at this, I'm actually surprised. He hit the threes. His shooting has been really pretty solid this season. In fact, it makes me want to pull it up. Tonight, not as great. For whatever reason, Utah just did not shoot the ball. You got to give credit possibly just to Dallas having some high-level defense. But this season, he is shooting 45% from the field, so he's improved his field goal percentage. And look at what he's shooting from 3 this year, 43%. lights out. And there were a few moments with Sensabaugh that made me happy. He has really turned the ball over at an alarming rate, where it's literally like if he's handling the ball and driving, he's turning it over way too often. And tonight he had a few plays where he drove in, handled the ball, and scored. Nice to see. And he knocked down a little mid-ranger that was nice. In fact, let's pull it up. I want to see. It was like a turnaround jumper here. Right here, turnaround jump shot. So let's pull this back. This is just him in isolation, and this is where you got to be a little nervous because this is where the ball's been getting stolen. What a nice little shot that is. If he can do that with regularity as a sixth man and can go creating his own points, that's big time stuff. That is no small thing. And he's got nice size. He's like 6'5". He is strong. He's pretty big. If he can get in elite shape, and if he can tighten up that handle and, you know, not turn the ball over just by driving to the basket, you've got yourself quite a nice player there, like a nice sixth man bench type player. Utah would have to be extremely happy with that. Isaiah Collier only plays 12 minutes tonight. He really is struggling to shoot the ball, and there were times where he just refused to shoot it. He did take 2 threes, which is nice to see. He made 2 last game. Not this one, though. The numbers aren't super great because teams are not guarding him, and the confidence is not quite there, so he's got to figure out that shooting. It's going to be tough. If Collier can't shoot the ball, even at an average NBA level, things get kind of a little hairy, but he's just a rookie, and that's what this season is for him to develop. He's a lot of fun. He does a lot of good things. He also defends really well, surprisingly well. So there's a lot to like with Collier, but he has got to figure out that shooting because it's an absolute big-time swing for him, bigger than these other players, you know, where some of these players, you just want their efficiency to go from okay to good to great. You need his efficiency to go from terrible to just average, you know? So that's where things get a little scary. But he's just a rookie. So let him play, let him figure it out. He's doing a lot of nice things on the floor. Basketball isn't just your shooting, and he does all the other things really well. It's just the shooting is such a gaping hole right now. Got to get better. Drew Eubanks is great. I love Drew Eubanks. I'm glad he's on the Jazz. We don't have to say much more than that. 1 for 6, but I bet it was a hook shot. Johnny Juzang, it's been a little up and down as of late. The shooting was so just absolutely off the charts to start the season. It's cooled down a little bit. Still really high level, though. He's doing a lot of interesting things where he has the ball in his hands. Sorry. He'll get the ball in his hands and actually run a pick and roll here and there. It's fun to watch. He did have 5 rebounds as well in this, but only hit 1 shot, missed both his threes. We'll see. Johnny Juzang, the evolution of Johnny Juzang will be interesting to watch. Fun to watch. Micah Potter, if you don't root for Micah Potter, you're not a good person because he has done everything the Jazz have asked him to. He is very willing to take on whatever role that is, whether it's playing in a tanking season, whether it's playing with the G League, playing in the summer league with the Jazz young players. I'm sure he does a lot of things in practice to help Jazz players practice. He's a big part of this organization. Even though he doesn't play, I promise you the Jazz probably really appreciate and respect Micah Potter and what he does for the team. Not everyone that contributes to a team is playing with the starters or playing at all. Some of those guys are actually there because they're helping out in practice. And I'm sure Micah Potter's doing that. Patty Mills, Svi Mikhailuk, these guys are in practice helping the Jazz young players develop and grow, which is incredible. Fantastic stuff. All right, guys, it was a very successful night for the Jazz. Let's go to the games tonight, and we might start doing this a little more and more. I've been doing a Jazz Tank Watch guide on SLC Dunk. I do that every single day, so you guys can go check those out. But I just talk about who to root for and who not to root for. For Jazz fans, it's time to start rooting for the Hawks a lot. Why? Because the Hawks are competing with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the standings. And every time the Hawks win, it bumps the Minnesota Timberwolves down and gives the Jazz a better pick. Right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves pick is sitting at 12. So the teams you want to root for, Atlanta, Indiana, obviously the Clippers, but the big ones, San Antonio, Sacramento, and Brooklyn. If these teams can leapfrog Minnesota, maybe even Detroit, but if these teams can leapfrog Minnesota, can you imagine the Utah Jazz getting a 10 pick and a top 3 pick? Utah right now sits at 3. New Orleans is going to get back Jordan Hawkins, and at some point, maybe Zion Williamson will play. What a sad story that is. Holy crap. But it is very likely Utah sits at 2 come lottery night. And even if they get jumped, they'll get it. Like, let's say they get jumped twice. That still means Utah would get a top 4 pick. Phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. But then this gives Utah the highest possible odds to get to the top, which is what you want. Can you imagine? I can't even let myself think too much, but it would be incredible. Anyways, rooting for the Hawks. Such a nice night because the Sixers win, which actually jumps Utah to the 3 spot. The Wizards are so... I don't think the Jazz are catching the Wizards. They're terrible. They just had a successful no-win November. They're really bad. They're doing a better job tanking than Utah. And finally, Utah loses. But tomorrow, things to watch for tomorrow on Sunday the 1st. Obviously, Utah plays the Lakers, needs to lose that game. You got to root for the Nets and the Raptors. I guess the Pacers as well. But the Raptors, just because you want cushion in the standings. The Pelicans, everyone root hard for the Pelicans. You've got the Utah Jazz, obviously you're rooting to lose. Sacramento, you need Sacramento to start winning. But even then, if the Spurs win, this is just a lose-lose for the Minnesota Timberwolves because someone's got to win this game. And then obviously, do the Minnesota Timberwolves play? I don't believe so. I think they do not. The next game the Wolves play. By the way, the Wolves have had one of the easiest schedules in the league. Absolutely, Utah Jazz fans are Lakers fans these next 2 Lakers games. Go Lakers, baby! Beat these Timberwolves, knock them into oblivion. That's what we want. All right, guys. Good night for the Utah Jazz. A loss is a win. A loss is a win. And now it's time to go. So Utah going into the lottery. If they were number 3, I guess I'll take it. I'm hoping to get to 2, which seems very possible. And if the Jazz don't screw this up, seems like they can make that happen. But they're going to have to start, resting Markkanen because he hurt his knee. Maybe rest him for like every game they play against these teams. All right. If the Utah Jazz go into the lottery and with the number 3 odds, here's what would happen if that were today. Boom! Utah goes to number 1. Cooper Flag's coming to the Jazz. And Utah also gets the number 12 pick, baby! Woo! Yeah, baby! That's the second time this season we've got the number 1 pick. That means Utah gets Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, or Dylan Harper. Their choice. But this time, Utah gets Cooper Flag, baby. Let's mark that down. By the way, guys, I have been recording this every single game. And one thing I have noticed each and every time is the higher the Jazz get, the odds go up. If Utah is in this 1, 2, 3 range, we have been getting 1 through 4 every single time. It matters. It matters. Because guess what? Even if Utah's 3 gets jumped twice, that still gets you the choice between VJ Edgecombe and Trey Johnson. But you're giving yourself the odds at Cooper Flag, which Utah does tonight. Shout out Utah Jazz, Cooper Flag, baby. Here we go. All right, now it's time to give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. Let's give a oh, dang it. Messed it up. By the way, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I need you all to just like and subscribe to the channel. And if you love the Utah Jazz, this is the best Utah Jazz podcast, YouTube channel, whatever, out there in the world, in the universe. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. Ryan, let's give a shout out to Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. Baby Elliot Madsen, see ya, Alexa later. Christian House Money to Haas, the Outlaw Jesse James Nelson, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, the OG, and Patrick Kubo, the connoisseur. Guys, we got Cooper Flagg on the Jazz tonight. I hope you're excited. Transformational talent, baby. Absolutely changing the game. And Utah gets their star. How incredible is that? All right, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next.